saw Manchester United are already underway in terms of their transfers. How will that affect how the team sets up next season? We're going to dive in that today with the introduction of Cunha. Looks like maybe Mbeumo coming in, and then potentially looking at a striker. I've done a few FM things. I've got rid of a load of players. I've signed a random goalkeeper because we definitely need to sign a new goalkeeper, don't we, Manchester United fans? It's a little bit left field, but I think of how the situation's developed for him could be an option. How it all fits in, I've also put a striker in as well because we definitely need a striker. And we're going to see how the system looks in FM. All right, so generally I think what they're going to look at playing this season is this, we know this sort of like 3-4-2-1 with Lenny Yoro probably being the wide centre-back and Maguire or De Ligt being the central player with hopefully a fit Martinez. I think, Mazraoui will come in potentially at times. Yoro will go across to the other side. They've also got Heaven, the youngster from Arsenal as well. So, yeah, they're kind of stacked in there. But I think a fully fit, fully fresh squad of defenders, that would be my choice. Maguire, maybe. I think De Ligt gets himself fit. He's definitely got a higher ceiling than Maguire in terms of athletic, maybe not the ball playing capabilities, but definitely the ability to work into these wide areas that we know Maguire's not great at. Agate, and I'm going to go Fernandes. With the introduction of the new 10s, loads of options up there at the moment with, Diallo can still do it, Mount, Cunha, Mbeumo coming in, Xerxes maybe doing it at times. I think definitely Fernandes is going to be tasked with progressing the play a lot more. Agate's disappointed last season. He never looked fully fit for me, so I hope a good rest coming in and having a good pre-season. I think we'll see a much better Agate, but we know we've got Casemiro to back up there. I think Kobe Menu will be the backup for Fernandes. Left-hand side, the wing-back is going to be Dorgu. I think Luke Shaw will do it. Harry Mass will do it at times. But if you think the squad can be a lot smaller this season with no European football, so Dorgu will probably play a lot of the minutes down that left-hand side. And as soon as he came in, he played. I think apart from when he was suspended, he played a lot of the games. On this right-hand side, as more of an attacking option, like he likes to do, Amorim, we're going to go with Diallo. I think he suits being as wide as possible. Rather than in here, we like him in here and then cutting back on crosses, getting in from these deeper wide areas, maybe a Dorgu cross and Diallo hitting the back stick later on. So that would be my two wing-backs. Cunha playing off this sort of like left space, being the 10, and then Mbeumo being on this right side. I think that's definitely where he's at his best. And then the striker, we need someone who can go in behind. Like my ideal scenario, let me know, Man United fans, best option for a striker. You're talking Osimhen, Gyökeres, Ekitike, Watkins, I think he's still a shout. He looks like he's leaving Aston Villa. Will he go to Arsenal? I do still think if they get desperate, and they know Villa are desperate, probably going to be desperate to sell by the end of June because of the PSR problems, you might still see like an Ollie Watkins coming in for a couple of seasons to do a job because we know Højlund is potentially leaving, looking at going to Inter Milan. Xerxes, a completely different profile. Still a profile that we can use, but generally what they want is someone who can stretch the play as much as possible and allow these spaces for these players in particular to work in Cunha, Fernandes and Mbeumo. So we want that number 9 to stretch the play. Now, my issue that we've got a little bit is how FM deals with this, because we're not going to start Diallo as a right wing back. We're going to start Dorgu as the left wing back, but we're going to play him as a midfielder, just so we get him a little bit higher. And I'm really actually pleased in the match engine how we've managed to sort this rule out. It doesn't look great when you look at the tactic itself, but it works really well in the match engine. So that's what we're after, Man United fans. All right, Fernandes coming in here, Cunha working this space and maybe, drifting out wide at times and driving in. And Mbeumo will start wide at times. He will cut in, allow Diallo, take players away. And then when Mbeumo driving in, and then we need that number 9 to stretch the play. My choice would be Osimhen. Highly unlikely that it's going to be that one. I have, in FM terms, and for today's video, I've given us Ekitike. I'm not a massive fan of him. He's quite wasteful in front of goal. He's underperformed his numbers. I'll just put his XG numbers on the screen. He's had not a great season in terms of finishing chances. Definitely an upgrade on what we've got. And I've kind of put him into the side because it's the most likely one. And then the other curveball, we don't like Onana. We want him out. I've gone for Marc-Andre ter Stegen. And I've done that because he's 32, probably 33 maybe now, or maybe 33 halfway through the season. But we need a quality goalkeeper. There's not much around. Well, there is actually a lot around. I just think this could be done. They'll want to get him off the wages. He's out of favour now. He's come back from his injury. I think Barcelona signing Juan Garcia, I think, is it from Espanyol? He's fallen publicly out with Hansi Flick. So I just thought, a bit of a curveball, but I needed a goalkeeper for this, so like this video purpose. I do like Chevalier at Lille. Is it Lille? Yeah. Is it Lille? Yeah, I think it's Lille. I like him. He would have been my first option, but I just think there's not been linked to anyone. He's now been linked to places like Galatasaray, and I think just get him in, like we did with Van der Sar for a few seasons. Get him in while we sort out the rest. Now, this is how it looks in FM, all right, which looks a little bit odd, but it does work beautifully. We've had a pretty good preseason. We've had a pretty good game against Liverpool. We drew at home against Liverpool. Look, 0.75 from the penalty. We didn't really have any highlights in the game until we scored a goal. I brought Casemiro on for a Tyron Agate, and he just grabbed a hold of Mo Salah in the penalty box, and he scored a pen, which was really frustrating. But we've had a really good start to the season. We've drawn with Man City as well. 1-1, Maguire, 87th minute killer. We were on our way to win it in normal time, which is disappointing. But then we've started the season superbly well. This was like, when I saw this working, you're always unsure of how the tactic works, because I said, when I build these tactics, I don't build them, I don't just grab a 4-2-3-1 system or the best sort of like overpowered tactic in the game and then just make a few tweaks and say it's a tactic. I kind of build it from scratch with always the realism in mind. So it's brilliant when I see it actually working really well without having to tell you guys, you might want to change this, you might want to change that. It works exceptionally well. We've absolutely dominated the game against Fulham. 4-0, 27 shots, loads of XG, 13 corners, dominated 68% of the ball. Yeah, we'll be happy with that. We've struggled. Was it Fulham we struggled with, and Wolves the last few games, home games of the season, the first start games of the season, and we thought we were going to be good, and then it's like, oh no way, shit. So having to see this performance was encouraging. Okay, so we've got a bit of settled possession. I've just highlighted the plays so you can see. So interestingly as well, if you noticed when I initially showed you the tactic, we've got Cunha as that trequartista. I really wanted that high kind of free player down that left-hand side. I didn't want him to be a static 10 in here. I didn't want him to stay out wide. I want Dorgu to have all that space to run into. And I think the movements we get with Cunha are absolutely fantastic. So we've got a little bit of build-up in possession. Agate, I've tried to change the Agate role. He's taking too many shots. He's doing too many risky passes. But unfortunately, the FM is he's just designed to do it. We've got a nice little bit of shape. We've got front three. Look at Mbeumo now. He's moved so inside. We have him that inside forward. We said that my initial worry is that he was kind of going to get into these areas here and clog it up. But he's allowing Ahmad to be pretty much 1v1 at times. He will naturally, I think that'll be Anthony Robinson. He'll grab the attention of him during games as well to leave Ahmad 1v1. Lovely ball. Like, that is where we want Fernandes in this sort of like deeper, sort of like 10 role. I know we've got him as a 6, but he'll naturally venture into these areas. Into Cunha, we've now got that overlap in, Dorgu in, hitting the penalty area. It was an own goal, but Cunha was there, was there to tap it in. And then here we've just won back possession. See, now look at this. Ahmad and Mbeumo. I think it's Mbeumo actually scores. Soon as the ball goes into Ahmad and Mbeumo's run he's got to look where he is straight away. Allowing Ahmad to have that run. So it's not as if they're going to get in each other's way. He's going to work this half space superbly well now. He'll get the option. Look, he's in there on his left foot, rattles it in. But I was really worried that them two defensive winger and the inside forward, the Ahmad and Mbeumo, were going to get in the way. And it's not the case at all. Look where he is. They've now got a 2v1 down this left-hand side if they want to use it. They do use it, look. Tremendous. Cross it in. Ekitike, he's there to tap home. What a start to the season. We've then played Brighton, who were probably going to be a little bit, dominate more, a little bit more in terms of possession, 58-42. I don't think Amorim is super bothered about possession. They also scored a 94th minute penalty, which was a little bit frustrating. Didn't get our clean sheet. First one's from a set piece, but lovely movement, lovely vision from Cunha. Dorgu scoring on the rebound. In terms of FM, I didn't really like this goal. It's a little bit unrealistic. Like, the ball from Dorgu is world class. But this is what we'll get with Mbeumo. Really direct run. He'll probably hit this penalty area a little bit more and allow Ahmad to be sort of like the guy at the back stick. That was a header, which was super unrealistic. But I really like to see the patterns that we're getting with that Diallo and Mbeumo down that right-hand side. If we can get that deal done, we'll be absolutely superb. Right, so here we are in possession. Amad and Buemo again, we've kind of covered. There's Gomez, there's Endo. So Endo is the holding midfielder, and he's getting sucked out of there, out of the midfield, creating loads of space. If someone, Fernandes could go in there, Acuna could go in there as well. Mbeumo gets behind him, and Endo, cut back, should score, but we're getting that. This is a real issue for teams. This double up in here, down this left-hand side. It could be a centre-half comes across. If a centre-half comes across, then a Ekitike would be a 1v1 against the other centre-half. And then a direct ball in behind, pace from Mbeumo, directness. Should score Cunha. It's a good block, actually, by Trent on the goal line. Did you see that as well? Just want to show you this. My option bugbear a lot of the time is when it comes to FM, the centre-backs don't do the job. I think, a lot of the time you're going to have this, right? You're going to have this. 3 defenders playing against 1. And obviously we can, Yoro, we could move further forward, put him as a wide centre-back on support. So we'd have maybe a 2v1, but you don't want to see that. But what we've done is, can you see now De Ligt has come all the way in to track him and stopped him turning. And we've done that with just a little player instruction. We've got him man-marking the central striker. So we've got the middle centre-half man-marking that central striker just so he goes all the way. And Amorim was very keen on allowing the defenders to go all the way in and put pressure on the strikers, something that they didn't do in the opening few games. All a bit edgy in terms of coming out of these areas here where they're really comfortable in normally playing. And then Cunha's going to be the goal scorer. We'll just watch his movement. We know his pressing numbers are not great. I think he walks the most in the Premier League, doesn't he? But he's going to then come into life, look. So he started wide. He's now in. Look where he is. He's not here. He's not out here. And then having to come in, he is as central as you get. And he scores a lovely dink to put us 1-0 up with only 10 minutes to go. And I kind of thought we wouldn't see that from the Trequartista on that left-hand side, but we do. He started here, but then he was pretty much the central striker. So super good. I'll talk about the other option as well. So Patreons, both tactics will be available. There'll be a Xerxes version as well, which does change, I think, definitely changes the role of Mbeumo. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And both tactics will be available down in the description if you want to support the Patreon. Muchly appreciated. Right, the goalkeeper situation, sweeper keeper on support. No player instructions. Yoro, we've got him as a wide centre-back on defend. I still think they're not going to, we're not going to have the Bastoni runs like we see at Inter Milan. I think it's going to be a little bit more settled. Yoro likes to carry. So we've gone wide centre-back on defend. So we build up that little bit of a wider back three. De Ligt, central defender on cover, middleman as well, in games. I've been doing it. I haven't been doing that. I've been doing it in games. And then so there, I would get him man-marking on a watch because he's their central striker. Left-hand side, stay wider because he's not a wide centre-back. We've got him as a ball-playing defender, Martinez. So stay wider in possession and then dribble more. Superb at carrying and playing. Wing back on attack for Dorgu, just so he holds that width. Attack, crosses from the byline. Ugarte, ball-winning midfielder. You could do Anchor, no problem. But he's more of a ball winner. And we've got him on defend just so he stays a little bit. He's going to have to be, because we're going to have Diallo and Buemo higher up the pitch. All can do the pressing probably better than what we have been doing. There's no need for maybe Agate to go into there. Ball-winning midfielder on defend. Bruno Fernandes, roaming playmaker. That allows him to be absolutely everywhere. If we can get Agate fit, I'm quite happy with what we've got in there. I don't think we're going to go and sign another midfielder. I would like to see an Edison at Atalanta. I think that would be superb in there. It would allow maybe Fernandes to play a little bit further forward in games and have maybe Casemiro and Edison together, or Ugarte and Edison. That would work superbly well. But with the players that we've got, Ugarte, Fernandes, Casemiro, Mainu and Mount, that is a lot of players, central midfield players in there already, and unlikely any of them are going to leave. So I don't think Man United are actually going to do any transfer business in there. Right hand side, Diallo, just bog standard defensive winger on support. That's nothing. I don't really want him to roam. You could probably run wide with the ball just so he keeps his width a little bit, but I've not needed to do that. Left-hand side, Trequartista, because we want him to, ease off tackles, roam, take more risks, dribble more. That is Matthias Cunha. And we've got him as the Trek. Sit narrow as well, just so he comes inside a little bit more in possession, that we've seen his movements. And then Mbeumo, sit narrow, inside forward on support. with Ekitike just the advanced forward, whoever that's going to be. Now, when it does change to a Xerxes, I think Xerxes will come in at times and be this DLF. I think if we don't sign a striker, it will be Xerxes. A DLF on support, because he's a tremendous link player. Back to goal, I don't think he's a 10. He's not a 10 at all because he can't carry. He's not a great carrier of the ball. He likes to play with his back to goal, play things, be kind of clever, get on the half turn, pull defenders out. So DLF on support. I would maybe leave Matheus Cunha as the trek, but I would have Mbeumo as that as an attack. So we'll save that now for you Patreons. I'll just call it the Xerxes. There you go. So there's two options there for you. Nothing really changing there. We'll just hopefully see some different runs from Mbeumo. With Xerxes dropping in, he'll like to drop in, link play, and allow that space in behind. You could maybe even change Cunha if you weren't getting what you wanted in terms of direct runs in behind. You could then put that onto an inverted winger on attack just so we get that movement of players going beyond Xerxes. I think Cunha and Mbeumo going beyond to Xerxes would work pretty well, but I'm so hopeful Manchester United go and sign. What else do Man United need? Let's say they sign Mbeumo. We've cleared out the squad. The squad's quite small. As you can see, we've not spoke about any of the youngsters. We've not spoke about any of them. That's because I wouldn't play any of them, basically. And I'll tell you why. We've got a big squad already. Players that are going to be staying. Like, we're not going to get Luke Shaw, Mazraoui, Dalot, Menu, Mount, Casemiro. They're all staying. So what I would do is have players such as Kone, Collier. I don't think Collier's great at all. He's very average, not up to the calibre of a Manchester United player. So loans for him. Loan for Obi as well. He's not ready for playing all the time. He may have to do it if we get rid of Højlund and don't sign another striker. He may then have to come into the side as being maybe a backup for Xerxes. Harry and Mas needs to go out on loan. We're obviously getting Leon. Is it Pedro Leon, the young... Is he Paraguayan? I think he's maybe Paraguayan coming in at left wing back. They've got options. Like Dalot will have to be the backup on that side. We've got backup in Luke Shaw on this side, or Harry Mas maybe at times, or Pedro Leon, depending on how well he does in pre-season. Ugarte, Casemiro, Fernandez has got Menu as an option. Out here, we'll probably play like a Mason Mount. Diallo can do that role. I've obviously let go of sort of like Anthony, Rashford, Højlund, Malacia, Garnacho, those sorts of players, just to trim the squad down. It doesn't need to be a big squad this year because they've hardly played any games. All right, that is Ruben Amorim's tactic. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I think that will be the tactic because we know Cunha's coming in. We know what role we're generally going to get Mbeumo. Even if that's Diallo, if that is going to be Diallo and Mbeumo, that'll still be the role. That will still be the role. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Check out the Patreon. Guardiola tomorrow. See you later.